Hello beautiful people, welcome back to our Drift channel, and today we're putting the electric power steering pump into the MX-5 because it keeps spinning the belt off the normal belt driven pump. So I'm going to mount the electric power steering pump in here, run some cables and stuff, and I've got some hose and pumps over here. This bad boy, old Astra. 2005, I think 2005. Anyway, it's quite a common thing, but some people don't like the way it feels, so we'll see how it goes. And if that doesn't go well, we'll do an electric power steering column out of a Yaris or a Prius. Prius, I think. It's got bigger gears in it, stronger. Anyway, stay tuned. So I've run my power cable from a pump from there. I'll show you where I put the relay. Relay's up there with the wire, the little control wire goes to the ignition, comes on with the ignition, pulls the relay in. So just cut the power wire, put it in there. Let's say, can you see? I don't know if you can see. It's, I can't see. 60 amps. Is it 60 amps? 80. I'm my old eyes. And just cable just goes through the car. Just chucked it in there. And I've got the fuse holder in the back. Fuse holder in the back, straight under the battery. And I've got the Optima battery, so should hopefully have enough juice in it. It's a 910 cca cranking amp, so hopefully on the high draw it's 8. Now we're going to do the front bit. Stay tuned. So we're going to mount the pump here, and this is the power wire. We've just crimped it in line with the suede set. Come down. Shrink to shrink. And after we do this, we've just got to make the lines. Got the speed flow fitting in there. That's fine. Big fan of speed flow. It's Australian made. Actually manufactured in Australia. Support local brands. Something. A couple of tires. This thing works. Something like that. We've got the neutral or the earth onto the chassis there. Sanded the paint off. Magic. I'm going to make some brackets. It's just simple ones bolt onto. There's heaps of threaded holes in the chassis. In a minute. Some tabs. We just want to see if we can get it to work first. So then we're going to make the line up. Alrighty, so we put the high pressure line on, goes around, goes down, underneath, and I've just got it up there on a brazed on fitting, dash fitting onto the old original steel line, onto the rack. Got that done at like a power steering engineering hydraulic shop. So yeah, now it's got to get the return line from here to there. So get that on. Alrighty then, so I made the bracket. It's out there drying in the sun. I painted it up, but the pump's all mounted. I'll turn it on so you can have a listen. I took the car out to the car park and did some circles and some figure eights last night, and it's fine. As you can hear, she fairly sings. And then it seems to back off a bit once she's been running for a bit. Because it's just sitting on the chassis, so it's louder than it will be. Because it's got these rubber mounts, so once I put the bracket on it should be less zingy. But still, it sounds like an overexcited Tesla. But do turn it off. Hear it working. So, seems to have been a success, but we'll know how it actually drifts and counters after the weekend. Tomorrow is round 1 of the Victory Championship, the local club championship. So, entered into that, and hopefully this thing works and I won't have to worry about my belt falling off mid-corner or anything, causing drama. Yeah. Stay tuned. I mount it up and then I got to pull off the old pump and chuck that on the shelf. Hopefully never to use it again. I don't know, this thing's probably bigger than the factory one, but you do have the cast or the forged metal bracket that it bolts onto, so I gotta turn this thing off before it drains my battery because they do draw a lot of current. It winds down, and there you go. And there you go. So I've left my lines all long because I want to keep them away from the heat to these things because it just runs flat out. That's generally how people wire them. So they're working at high RPMs and stuff at their optimal speed. They do tend to heat up the fluid, I believe, and that's what people have problems with when they're running long lines. The pump's working extra hard in the back and it cooks the fluid. So if you're going to run it in the back, you probably need a big training cooler somewhere. I mean, not a training cooler, but you could use a training cooler, but to cool the fluid somewhere. But I kept mine on the front for simplicity of setup and fits nice just there. So anyway, that's that. Stay tuned. Alrighty, so I got the pump pulled off. There's a nice open hole there now. Looks nice. Well, it doesn't look that nice in here. This car is all about just driving. But I've got the bracket on, which is the factory bracket. I just cut some things off it and welded it in a couple of tabs, one from there, just to hold it, solid as, on rubber mounts. And now I am under here. So I'm trying to, let's see if I can show you. Credit where it's credit's due. I saw this on where did I see this on? Hoonigan YouTube channel, something. One of those big garage build competition things. Anyways, they were doing it on the drag car. So they basically chain you weld this or bolt this onto your lower control arm out as close as you can to your ball joint, and then fix it to the chassis at a point up here. I've just shackled it, and what that does is when the front of the car lifts under acceleration or power, basically the lower control arm can't drop. So all this unsprung weight, your wheel, the knuckle, the lower control arm, the coilover, and some of your tie rod weight, all will basically go onto the rest of the wheels on the car, which are getting more firmly planted on the ground, which would be the rear wheels, hence giving you more grip. It seems to be a drag racer thing, so I'm going to do it on this car to try and give myself more grip, obviously on the wheel that tries to lift the most, which would be the wheel that's doing the least amount of steering. So your weighted wheel, which will be your leading wheel, is obviously going to be pushed up, so the chain will be slack on that side, the steering side, and the other side will be trying to lift off the ground, and that will hold it up on the other side and transfer all the weight from basically just one wheel onto the chassis and therefore onto the other three wheels, giving the car more grip. This is my plan. I don't know if it's going to foul on things and fuck shit up. The chain obviously is going to, this arm's obviously going to go up and down against the edge of the chain. It may be junk. Maybe I'll have to clearance this a bit or something. Or maybe even just weld like a flat plate on there so I can rub against it smoothly. Anyway, I've made up these tabs because all of this weight plus, I don't know, 10 kilo springs in the front, lower control arm, and the knuckle and everything, I don't know, probably weighs 50 kilos. Smashing down on this chain probably 200 times a day, yanking on it. So you want to make sure that you've got some thick mounts for the shackle to go through. And basically gonna weld that bad boy on there and drill a hole through it, put a shackle through it, put the chain onto it. That's my plan. Anyway, stay tuned. So, welded the tabs on to the arms on both sides. That's done too. But while they're cooling down, we need to put some rib nuts in the firewall to bolt my catch can in position, because I had to move it over slightly because I put this there. So I'll bolt that back on for my breather line to go into, and then by the time I do that, the arms should be cool and I can paint them and then cut the chain to length and fit it on. Stay tuned. Sometimes rib nut tool is a pain in the butt. That was annoying. There's a couple of M60 boys. Magic. Where's my clamp? Where's my clamp? I don't have a clamp on there. Hold that thought. Alrighty. So you can see, look at the shackle on the bottom, shackle at the top, and there's a bit of slack. Because obviously you don't want it to be like tight when it's static. So if you're rolling up to do like an initiation and you want to do like a bit of a flick or whatever, you still want both wheels to steer and have good grip on initiation. It's only at when they're at full lock in the car starts to really lean on the back and the weight starts to shift over to one side, that you want it to sort of support that weight and transfer it onto the back. Or the other wheels won't necessarily just go to the back wheels, but if it's held off the ground, it's got to go. Gravity's going to pull it down onto the chassis, which pulls down on the other wheels. That's my theory, but we will test it out. Alright, let's do the other side, and then that's done. Still got a bit to do. I still got to pack the van and pack up all my tools and stuff, get ready for tomorrow. So that's pretty much it for this video. Car's ready to go. It's going to change the oil. You don't need to see that, it's pretty boring. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you you want to see more stuff on drifting and me building cars. But yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.